Hello friends, welcome to this last section of integrated marketing communication, wherein for next two sessions including this one, I would be focusing on the effectiveness measurement of integrated marketing communication. There would be a reference to few things which we would have discussed earlier as well, but here the main context would be associated with the evaluation perspective, utilizing evaluation as a strategic tool to enhance the effectiveness of integrated marketing communication. So, let us begin with a short recap on what we have gone through up till now. You see, up till now in several of our discussions, we have referred to things like copy research, for example. This we would be referring to briefly once again, but copy research we have talked about. There are several methods of research which we have pondered upon, for example, projective techniques, dialogue balloons, physiological tests, behavioral intent, recognition tests, association tests, and so on. And we have emphasized strongly upon how understanding behavior is important, how integrated marketing communication research is important for understanding that. Then we have gone for different elements of ad metrics like conversion rate, cost per thousand impressions, TRP, and those kind of references we have gone through. Ad planning components we have tried to understand, we have discussed frequency, reach, impressions, etc., and so on. And then we have tried to understand that how marketing research or integrated marketing communication research is pursued, what are the methodologies, and how, what kind of results they bring in for our understanding. But let us begin our discussion on IMC evaluation in relation to the challenges associated with it. You see, marketing communication has historically been measured on a medium by medium basis. Now, that is a usual kind of thing, and that is what we have seen all through also. So, impact analysis is done on the specific advertisements or a campaign which is released on a particular kind of a medium, for example, newspaper. Social media, we have talked about recently that in the last few videos that how real time analysis can be done, and digital advertising definitely has enabled us for that. Then the modern social media, as I have just told you, is following the same path of analyzing it in a specific kind of a context. Despite the consumers seem to use all the communication systems in general, you see, or they visit all the communication systems, and marketers, they are utilizing integrated marketing communication with reference to using all the mediums available, all the possible mediums, especially those marketers who have to address a wide audience, who have to go for a larger reach actually. So, despite of this fact, there is no single, I think I should say one specific kind of a composite methodology which can somehow measure the effect of the complete integrated marketing communication along all the models. You see, at the end, a communicator says that several media have been used and this is what has been achieved in terms of the cost spent, or let us say against the objectives which were defined and desired for. So, the greatest challenge in marketing communication is to integrate both hard and soft measures, attitudinal and behavioral measures, short term and long term effects, or cumulative versus immediate. And then you see, challenges are also associated with separating cause from effect and being able to distill both singular and combined marketing communication effects. So, this is a complex kind of a situation, see. So, either one can go for measuring and evaluating every single activity, and then cumulatively putting up the results all together, which is again a very time taking kind of a thing. Basically it will utilize so many resources. So these are very important challenges in terms of evaluation, and evaluation is very important for taking specific steps and utilizing IMC strategically. Then you see, what should an integrated marketing evaluation method focus upon? Better understanding of how consumers process marketing stimuli, singular at first but ultimately at large, So that should be the focus. And then one can always think of drawing from insights from neural sciences. Then another focus must be on better understanding of how integrated marketing communications stimuli interact with one another. How should synergy between communication forms be considered and measured? You see, we are calling it integrated marketing communication, that should justifiably come up as wherein we somehow understand how synergistic it has been, and we should have a measurement criteria on that, because otherwise we would be using several media in silos, or let us say one by one, and we would think that we are using it for an integrated effort, which would not be so. How and why technology has empowered consumers, and how asymmetries and diversities impact on marketing communications planning and evaluation, this should be the focus actually. Then there are other elements of focus. What are the antecedents and consequences of consumer to consumer communication, consumer generated content, brand co-creation? How this shift in communication power and purpose fits into current and future integrated marketing communication frameworks. This should be the consideration in terms of evaluation, because evaluation would lead to further decision making. Then another focus must be on better understanding of relationships between IMC stimuli and marketing capabilities. For example, a company ideally needs to know what it can achieve in the future based on its brand strength today, and then it actually needs to achieve that potential, because then only they would be adding on further customers or further products. So that is an important element basically. Then again, you see, there are some elements which should be considered for focus. Marketing communication budgeting and financial evaluation needs to shift from being ex post to ex ante, that is before than after. We should be proactive actually, otherwise decisions would not be relevant if we always go for a reactionary kind of a thing basically. Then the focus should be on the better understanding of when, why and how to implement IMC. Assuming that IMC is strategic in nature, who should plan it, implement it, and exactly when and how should be the consideration. For all these elements which I am putting in front of you, I have referred to a source, that is a paper by Ewing in 2009, Integrated Marketing Communications Measurement and Evaluation, published in Journal of Marketing Communications. So that the source is given at the bottom of the page, every slide. You can refer that paper further. Now then there are some elements of likability and effectiveness. And you see, likability and understanding likability of customers with reference to the communication we have extended to the customer is very important, because if we do not understand that how much the communication was liked, we would not be able to further examine the scope of that communication. Likability is important in the very first stages of advertising processing, otherwise we will keep on going and we would not understand why it is not working. You see, if consumers do not like an advertisement or commercial, they will immediately switch their attention to something else. And remember, we discussed during one session, that if you go for a message, you generate a thought in the minds of the customer deviates from you, but thought remains there in terms of the product, and customer starts looking for other organizations who are putting up similar kinds of products. There have been several instances wherein large organizations could not market their products nicely because somehow customer attention got deviated and customer tried to find that product somewhere else. We have seen such cases in due course of time. You see, the idea of liking an ad can be difficult to measure in tangible and quantifiable terms because you see how to break liking, but then there are some methodologies developed by some experts, and we would be referring to one of those. See, Eric in his book The Advertised Mind states that message relevance plays a role in likability, and in addition Eric ComMap model quantifies several factors that can affect how well an ad is liked. So, you see this model stands for communication style map, generating a map structure. You see, this is how we can only break things for our understanding and putting up a tangibility context to that. So, this exercise breaks likability of an ad down to 6 elements. One of those elements, 6 elements are enlisted as entertainment, empathy, relevant news, familiarity, confusion, alienation, and so on. See, if the ad entertains, it will be liked, and that is what we have discussed in creativity, music, visuals, storyboards. That is where we have been discussing wonderful ads which have been working well for n number of years. That is where so many awards are being given to the advertisers. We have mentioned about those when we discussed about the creativity of advertisers and several advertising agencies in one of the sessions, you remember. And then you can surf for such kind of advertisements and such kind of achievers all through on the web, and you would realize how entertaining they have been. And I remember I mentioned in one of my sessions wherein I suggested that if you keep on watching advertisements for 10-15 minutes, you will be ending up watching a cumulative film with different sections, different sessions on a similar kind of a theme with lots of creativity designed by several kinds of creators, and then it's a whole lot of an entertainment to me, many a times better than watching movies for a long time. And you see, note that entertainment is not restricted to just the use of humor. There are several elements to it, and emotional aspects are also involved there. See, people like ads, they can relate to ads that show the kind of goods they may possess, experiences they might have, or lifestyles they may aspire to. That is where empathy perspective comes in. More than just new information, relevant news is new information that is meaningful to the audience, and problem solution type advertising falls into this kind of a category. Customers are looking for utilization of products, utility of and they are wanting solutions for their problems actually. There is a very good advertisement, Sujata mixer grinder. I would have mentioned that earlier also somehow. You see, they talk about the strength and power of the motor actually. So that is a very important thing which we can put up here, and then that advertisement is liked by many people, including me, and probably I am one of the fans of Mr. Pankaj Tripathi, who is one of the main characters in that advertisement. So he is a very renowned film actor. So now you see, familiarity. If an ad has been oversaturated in the market or in run of the mill, it can have the opposite effect of entertainment. Then there should not be any confusion, and irritating the audience, according to Eric, is a sure way to alienate consumers. You see, you should not be irritating the audience basically. You should not, and we all understand, if somehow confusion and irritation are two different kinds of things basically. So, the ad should not be annoying, it should be soothing. And when will IMC be effective? You see, what are the stages? So, IMC's effect can start from the very beginning of the complete process we follow, all through basically. So just when the source encodes, it reaches to this the receiver basically. So, the whole lot of a process associated for our understanding to evaluate that what are the reasons for IMC to be effective and what are the stages we should be monitoring in terms of evaluating the effectiveness of our advertisements basically. You see, it is the key part of marketing communication process, marketing evaluation we are referring to. And should it be left to the end of the campaign? No, it is too risky, because if somehow we have gone for the complete campaign and somehow it has not worked, by the time we not only have lost money, we have lost the market share as well, and that is very important. You see, communication has a driving power and there is no perfect measure. So, evaluating a marketing communication is equals to evaluation of different elements in the marketing communication plan compositively. That is the approach we should follow. Role and purpose of evaluation we have discussed. Just to enumerate that in front of you once again: ensure that communication objectives have been met, ensure that communication strategies have been effective, ensure cost efficiency, guidance and development perspective has to be there. And you see, integrated marketing communication must relate to its desired and defined effect. That is the fundamental call we must take actually. Now, there are some strategic judging criteria which we should carry in mind. Quality of insight and strategic thinking associated with as far as our ad campaigns go. Does the campaign show a strategic leap that offers others have not taken? We can always compare our messages and the impact of those messages with that of the competitors' messages and the impact of those messages. So, that can easily be done. Did it produce a strong idea or brief that could be turned into an effective marketing activity? And you see, integrated marketing communication generates effect in the complete marketing process. We have already talked about how it is related to the complete marketing process or marketing mix, other 3 P's, positioning and targeting, and those things are to be continuously monitored when we are looking into the effects of integrated marketing communication strategically. This is an instigative point, this is a retention point. So, we can look at it with the instigation perspective or retention perspective, wherever we want to focus upon. Clarity of thought: how well does the campaign makes its case? Does the campaign show real understanding of the brand and its market? What are the business effects? Did the campaign strategy drive powerful business results that met the objectives? How well does the campaign have contributed to overall business outcomes? And then how well did the creative execution or media channels, probably called as touch points, bring the strategy to life actually? And how well was the activity crafted in terms of potential to drive business and behavioral outcomes? So, this comes under implementation of strategy, and here, as I said in the beginning, that evaluation leads to strategic strength, strategic decisions, and these are the judging criteria, on the parameters on which we can base upon base our thoughts upon. Now, I would be putting up a very simple case study in front of you, and this would this is quite self-explanatory, and this would emphasize upon the importance of evaluation and the details which we have discussed till now. This is about Ariel #share the load campaign. The campaign duration was 4 to 6 months. Industry sector we all know, household and personal care. The name of the agency is Ketchum Asia Pacific and the region is India. The key objectives, and before I go ahead, the source from where this has been taken is given in the on the slides. So, the key objectives related to this #share the load campaign were related to brand, launch / reposition, brand awareness, increasing market share, gaining brand loyalty, event promotion and so on. So, these were the key objectives, and through this kind of a perspective we should be looking at this campaign which they pursued. It is a beautiful kind of a campaign. I personally liked the element in the storyboard, and when I will reveal the elements of research associated with this campaign, you would realize that it has always been there somehow, and the intelligent marketers here, they realized that and they brought it in front of us, and that was beautifully done. But how did they go for that kind of a research, and then they went for an evaluative perspective associated with that, and then what kind of results it brought in and how they are taking it further. That is a wonderful thing basically you would realize. The target audience: males, females, youth, families, professionals, almost everyone basically. So their existing, the product has a particular existing target audience, and they want to further dwell into that space. They want to make further inroads into that space. But here they are focusing upon a very wonderful kind of an element. Now, objectives of the campaign were wherein Ariel urges mothers to be the change makers, to drive household equality and raise their sons to be capable of share the load, hashtag share the load. That means, you see, why should daughters do all the work actually? That is the context. So, instead of daughters being told not to do the work, you see, sons are being told to do the work, that is share the load actually. So, that is the beautiful part wherein equality has been pursued. Now, Ariel wanted to bring about change and reignite the social conversation on household inequality by asking yet another pertinent question: are we teaching our sons what we have been teaching our daughters? With Ariel, it is very easy to start sharing the load. With its superior performance, anyone can do laundry and get the best results. That is the context, that is the thought they have pursued, and it is definitely. I do not know about you, I have several opportunities wherein I wash my own clothes in my house basically. So yeah, that is to be specifically mentioned. And then my mother taught me this, since very beginning basically, because I watched my father doing that. So with all due respect, my father always shared the load at my house. Both were working. So definitely, he took good care of both of us brothers, and then he shared the load. So I have seen this happening in my own family, and I have been pursuing that, being a good human being. Just a disclaimer, I am not promoting myself. Now, you see, so with the belief that mothers have a strong empathetic point of view, Ariel urges mothers to be the change makers of the society and hence relook at the way they raise their sons. Raising the sons is the very important kind of a thing. Now, there have been some insights from the primary research survey, as I said, they based it on their understanding, and here also evaluation, research, all these elements, they come in together. 74% of women have to think twice about accepting a promotion or additional responsibility at work due to the impact on household work. As I said, that this is specific to the research outcomes which have been mentioned and in the source, and we have taken that from there. So there can be elements of debate on related to the percentage, but we all understand that large percentage of women have actually been going through this basically. We know this. So it is an implied thing, it is all around us. 68% of Indian men believe that weekends are for relaxation. I say that it can be more than that, with all due regards and respect to men. While 72% of women believe that weekends are for grocery shopping, laundry, getting homework done and so on. Mothers are mothers anyways. So even now 52% of men think household chores are a women's job and outside work is man's job. Many times I have seen that this is quite true, and 61% of the men feel too tired to take up any household work after work, but 68% of women come back from work and do laundry regularly. It is a general scene which is going around us. This is expressed in percentage through the research. Definitely they have gone through an extensive process of going through this research basically. Now 40% of the Indian men do not even know how to operate a washing machine. That I can't say, but as I said, they have researched and they have found the results. 5 out of 10 men do not do laundry as they never saw their fathers do it. As I said, I saw him doing that, my father, so I do it myself. Now the campaign strategy was related to creating a recall, launch and create business around the campaign, that is promoting the latest campaign thought video across all verticals and trigger conversation and drive change through PR events, social media, influencers, marketing associations, etc. We have all, we have discussed all of that. And then campaign strategies was also related to sustain the buzz and the culmination, you see, related to brand collaborations, concept driven events, pan India approach was used to sustain the buzz. So it was taken to every target customer. And now comes the most important part which we have been discussing, the campaign evaluation. You see, in 2015 when Ariel launched Share the Load campaign, 79% of men in their sample, whichever they were studying, men thought, 79% of the men thought household chores are a women's job. In 2016 this number had dropped to 63%, a very dramatic and drastic drop, and thanks to their campaign which worked well. In 2018 this number reduced to 52%, and I like this, we are progressing. I admire this, and I will be talking about this in ethical part of our discussion when I would be summarizing that thing with reference to all of it including ethics, wherein you see I would be emphasizing upon the fact that advertising is a driver. So here we are seeing that it is driving actually. Mark Pritchard, Procter & Gamble's Global Chief Brand Officer at the Gender Equality Panel at World Economic Forum in Davos, presented that the Sun's hashtag Share the Load movement garnered 73 million views nationally. Approx reach within target group was 80%. Total number of conversations came out to be 45,000, and sentiment 98% of positive and neutral. Other brands joined in the cause to show their solidarity towards household equality. Further, for the first time ever, Ariel was ranked amongst Brand Equity's 10 most trusted brands. You see, that is the power of communication, and that is where evaluation comes to fore, that is where proper research comes to fore, that is where measurement criteria has to be there, and all of it what we are discussing. Unaided brand awareness increase was 13% pre Share the Load campaign versus after Share the Load. Consideration increase was 21%. There was a considerable sales increase, and penetration went up to, and I always refrain from calling it penetration, acceptance went up to 11% versus a year ago. Engagement rate increased 5 times, and all these things which came up as results are the evaluating parameters which they were following. They wanted to learn how unaided brand awareness would increase. You see, so that is where we are fixing up evaluative criteria. We are following those to look into those methodically and to take further actions and decisions on the same. So I stop here with a thought shared with you on the importance of evaluation and measurement in terms of integrated marketing communication. This case study exemplifies that. Go through it in detail through the sources given here, and I will see you next time with some methodologies which would emphasize the fact that how to pursue measurement and evaluation. Till then, goodbye.